apart. Tell me your secrets and ask me your questions. Now let's go back to the start. Running in circles, coming in tails, heads on a science apart. Nobody said it was easy. It's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be this hard. Oh, take me back to the start. I was just guessing at numbers and figures, pulling your puzzles apart. Questions of science, science and progress did not speak as loud as my heart. Tell me you love me, come back and haunt me. Oh, when I rush to the start, running in circles, chasing tails, coming back as we are. Nobody said it was easy. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be so hard. I'm going back to the start. I still see you in the places we would go, like your face is painted on the walls. I've been trying to forget all the moments that we spent, 'cause now I do it on my own. Oh, you and I were like this summer, but now it's winter here on my own. If I would've known that you wouldn't be here anymore, I would've made the moments last a little longer. 'C's now I'm alone, and you're just a memory in my mind. I would've given anything to say goodbye. If I would've known, if I would've known, I remember how we would laugh all the time, but now you're not around, and I'm just trying to find something else to fill the empty spaces you left behind. But nothing ever seems to work. I've been thinking about the things that you used to say, even not around. You're in my head every day, but it's fine, I don't mind. I promise I'll be okay. If I would've known that you wouldn't be here anymore, I would've made the moments last a little longer. 'Cause now I'm alone, and you're just a memory in my mind. I would've given anything to say goodbye.
Move all the tables and put it behind.
If I would've known,
Very sorry, she's mad.
if I would've known,
Yeah, I thought she was bringing her own. I figured she was either going to do it on a laptop or bring a desktop monitor. But anyway. Hey, okay, so we're not actually going to get started quite yet, but we do have a quick presentation that we want to do. So if I could have everyone's attention 1 minute. Hello? You can't hear me? They can't hear me. I can't believe they can't hear me, but they can't hear me. Yeah, it is. It's on. Trust me, it's on. I hear me, and I don't like that. All right, so I was asked to let a group from Healing Transitions who would like to perform a Narcan training for everyone right now, naloxone. So I'm going to let them have it. Do you guys have someone that's going to speak for you? You're going to speak? Okay.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. My name is Amy Brucia. I am the detox coordinator at the women's campus at Healing Transitions. We are a nonprofit treatment facility in Raleigh. We also offer a non-medical detox and a emergency shelter. So what I have here today, I have the women's response team with me. The women's response team was formed in 2021. It was our way of meeting the unfortunate demands of the opioid epidemic. Unfortunately, we were seeing a lot of effects from the increase of fentanyl, and so we formed the women's response team, and since then it has grown. As we have ladies graduate the program, we have new ladies join. And so what we're going to go over today is let me quickly mention. So what we're responsible for at the women's campus, we do all of the Narcan training for both participants as well as staff. We have Narcan stations. We started with 6 Narcan stations in 2021, and we now have over 100. There's one in every single room in the women's campus building. All of the ladies are thoroughly trained on opioid overdose, and I have quite a few ladies with me today that have been involved in reversing overdoses. With the number of the ratio of staff to participants at our campuses, it is usually a participant that happens to find the person that is overdosing on property, so it's super important for us to make sure that all of our ladies are thoroughly trained in how to reverse an overdose. So who do I have today, ladies, that's going to join and do the reversal? All right, so we have JB and Kaylin. I'm so sorry, I got a cough right before I got here. So, do you want to speak or you want me to? Okay, so All right, so one of the things that we always train on when we go over Narcan training is something, even though obviously no overdose is ideal, we call it the ideal overdose. What we mean by that is the ideal overdose would be if you happen to walk up on somebody that's suffering from an overdose, they're perfectly laid out flat on the floor, and everything's ready to go. Unfortunately, we rarely see it like that. A lot of times at the women's campus, we will find ladies that are sitting straight up, that are hovered over, and so we go over what to do when we find somebody and a way to open their airways because we have to get the process started. So today we have a nasal Narcan. Nasal Narcan is 4 milligram. A box of nasal Narcan comes with 2 of these, and each of those are 4 milligrams. And then we have Zimhi, which is a 5 milligram naloxone. It's an injectable, and that would go in the arm or the thigh. Okay, so Kaylin has found JB. First thing she's going to do is check to see if JB's responsive. So she's going to touch her on the shoulder. She's going to scream her name. She's going to try to get her attention. If she cannot get JB's attention, the next thing she's going to do is a sternum rub. So for those who don't know, if you go between your two, I think they're called clavicles, if you make a fist and go like this, it's super uncomfortable when you do it to yourself. If you do it to somebody else, it's even more uncomfortable. So if somebody is going to respond, then they're going to respond to a sternum rub. So at this point, Kaylin's doing a sternum rub, and JB is not responding. So Kaylin is going to prepare to go forward with an overdose reversal. So the first thing she's going to do, as you can just see, so JB is already laid out. So if we had found JB sitting up or leaned over in a chair, we would find other people to help, and we would safely lay her on the floor. If Kaylin was by herself and had to do... Yes, thank you. So if she was by herself and had no help around, which is very rare at our campus, we have a lot of ladies, but she would scream for somebody to call 911, and then she would get ready to go through with the overdose reversal. So the first thing she's going to do is make sure that JB's airways are open. She has her head leaned back. And then the overdose reversal with 4 milligram nasal Narcan is she's going to open it. And so you guys can see, hold it up one more time, Kaylin. So it has a plunger and then the spout thing. So the plunger, your thumb goes on that, and it goes in between both fingers, just like Kaylin's showing you. And it goes right about as far as you can get it in the person's nose. It's about the perfect length. And then she's going to, not really, but push on the red plunger and administer to JB. So on the package of nasal Narcan, it tells you to wait 2 minutes between each dose, and it tells you to alternate nostrils. So in the 2 minutes that we're going to wait between administering the next Narcan, we're going to go forward with CPR. So CPR is 30 chest compressions, 2 breaths. And then she's going to do another nasal Narcan. And then 30 chest compressions, 2 breaths, nasal Narcan. And so that is the process that she's going to go through until EMS arrives and then can help assist the ladies with the rest of the overdose. The same thing with the Zimhi. So instead of the nasal Narcan, if she was going to use the Zimhi, same exact process. She's going to take the cap off, super easy. She's going to put it in either JB's arm or her thigh, and you do not have to take their clothes off or remove their clothing to put that in. And then she's going to go through with the 30 chest compressions and the 2 breaths. Is there anything else I should cover? All right, and so I wanted to quickly also go over the signs of an opioid overdose for those who don't know or have not experienced somebody who's overdosing. So things that we look for in ladies that are overdosing at our facility would be pinpoint pupils, sweaty, clammy, blue lips, blue fingernails. The number one thing that we look for is unresponsive. And so the thing about Narcan is that, and we've had situations before where we had somebody that was unconscious and they were not overdosing. They had had a seizure and they hit their head and they were unresponsive. Unless somebody is allergic to nasal Narcan, which is very rare, then they can administer Narcan. Better safe than sorry. So in that case, we administered Narcan. It did not do anything because she was not overdosing. So the point is you could administer nasal Narcan to yourself, and if you don't have opioids on your receptors, then it's not going to do anything. It cannot hurt somebody. The only thing it can do is save a life. And I think that's it. Are there any questions?
Is the Zimhi like an EpiPen?
In
Push it in one time and then
Yes, it's a one-time use. Yes, so nasal Narcan and Zimhai are both one-time use. So that means that you can't keep reusing it. You have to go through several packages in order and for the person to come to. Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
Could you repeat the sequence with the nasal application? Like how often do you said 2 minutes,
Yes.
start the ER,
And then another nasal Narcan.
do you keep going with that or is 2?
Well, so either until the person comes to or until EMS arrives is what we do at our facility. So yes, you would keep going. I can tell you years ago, an overdose could be reversed with 1 or 2 Narcan. In the past few overdoses that we've had, I think the last that we had at the women's campus was 12 nasal Narcan. Before that, it was 8. Before that, I think it was either 11 or 12. So we're seeing some really serious stuff. And so unfortunately, 1 Narcan or 2 or just a few is not able to do the job. So yes, so as many as it takes for the person to regain consciousness or for EMS to arrive and take over. Yes. So I would say so, yes. I think the increase in fentanyl and carfentanil, and then just the amounts of fentanyl, like the pressed fentanyl pills are something that we've seen a lot of lately. And so the amount of fentanyl that are in those pressed pills, I mean, it's taking a ridiculous amount of Narcan to reverse an overdose. Yes. Absolutely. So that's a very good point that she has. I have a friend that passed away that had a complete reversal done. I think they used 8 Narcans, and when he refused medical attention and when he went to sleep that night, he passed away. So that is a great point. We, at our facility, obviously, we require medical attention. If somebody suffers an overdose on property, they absolutely have to go to the hospital and get checked out by a physician. Yes, ma'am. Sure. So that's also something that we include in our training, especially with the ladies. If they're reversing an overdose, ideally we have staff take over, but one of the things that we talk about is once the person starts to regain consciousness, we want to step away from them because I refer to the Pulp Fiction, like when they hit her with that pen and she ate. I mean, there are times when people will come out of an overdose and they don't know where they are. They don't know what's going on. They can come out swinging. A lot of times they're knocked out of, what they consider to be bliss, and they are super angry. And so we teach all of the ladies, once the person starts to come to, by nature, they want to stay by their side and rub their back and tell them, but I always tell them, like, with distance, because you are absolutely right. People get very angry, and it can be a dangerous situation. Yes? So that depends. I mean, I have a donation. Justin, that might be a question for you, because I know we have donations at our campus, but I do know we've seen ladies come with prescriptions. Typically, if we send somebody that has to be cleared by a physician, they will come back with a prescription. It's usually for 1 box. And I've heard that Walgreens does them, but I'm not sure of the details.
Yeah, so you don't have to have a prescription to get naloxone in any pharmacy. And pretty soon they're going to start selling it over the counter. They'll probably it won't be brand name Narcan. It'll be another type of naloxone. It will be a nasal spray. It will be 3 milligrams. Not sure quite yet on the price of it. So previously the price of Narcan was pretty expensive, even if you didn't have insurance. So they're cutting all that stuff away to make it more accessible. And you may in the future see naloxone digitally becoming very popular around the cities with high overdose rates. And I believe Wake County is looking into purchasing one and primarily use it out of
And one of the things that we did at both of our campuses to help meet that demand, we set up free Narcan stations in our lobbies. So our detox lobby and our front lobbies have free Narcan stations and we've seen success with it. We've had people that have come up and just gotten it and then had to go to a car to reverse an overdose. So knowing that they have somewhere to go to get it is very, very helpful. Any other questions? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. good. I'm gonna keep going. So, welcome. We're going to kick things off, and wanted to, first of all, who knew, right? We scrambled for 2 days. Everybody was calling, going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's going to storm. It's going to rain. Where are we going? I was so tempted to say we're going to sit in the rain, and knew that this would probably be the case, but just as sure as I had, we'd be holding tents down and umbrellas would be turning inside out. And so who knew? But we're going to make the best of this. I'm sorry we're not outside on such a beautiful day, but I thank you, first of all, every one of you, for being here today. This is an event that has been a big part of my life for 7 years. We start planning. There's a whole committee, and you'll get to meet them later. But and I apologize for being hoarse, but there's an entire committee behind this that meets every Monday, once a week for a couple of hours a night, starting in later than we should every year, but we try to start about March. And so we get finished with one event, and we're getting ready to start the next. So again, welcome to everyone who's here tonight. I'm going to ask Pastor John Eklund to come up and open us with a prayer. I do want to tell you just a little bit about Pastor Eklund. He is a licensed clinical social worker and ordained minister. John has been serving individuals and families as a social worker, counselor, and pastor for nearly 2 decades. John currently works as a therapist and serves as the director for Recovery Alive, a Christ-centered 12-step program he founded in 2020. John, thank you.
This is incredible to see you guys here, and I've done my share of funerals, but you all have lost loved ones, and I just want to pray for you. But I want to assure you something, is that prayer is not enough, you know. And so as a church, Temple City Church, as a pastor, I want to assure you we're going to do everything we can to end this epidemic. And the Bible says, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. And so we are mourning with you. I just ask you to bow your head and just pray with me. Father, there's a lot of pain and broken heartedness, but you say you are close to the brokenhearted, and you save those who are crushed in spirit. And so I pray for the one in this room right now who is suffering and is in pain and is working through the process of mourning. I pray that God, spiritually, you would comfort them. And Lord, at the same time, there's so much hope in this room because we are here together. We're doing this together. And I pray that there would be just this spirit of unity in this place, that we would be united to do everything that we possibly can to keep people alive until they want to live, to love people where they are, to meet people where they are, because that's what you do and that's what you are. God, you are love. And so I ask you to bless every person that's in this room. I ask you to bless all of their efforts. And God, we would see a change this year in these numbers, Lord. We would see something different because of our efforts. But once again, God, I just pray that you would comfort, you would bring hope and peace in this place. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. So now a little bit about myself and about the event, and then I'm going to introduce someone who has been instrumental in making sure that this event could happen every year. In January of 2015, January 31st of 2015, we got the knock on the door. And I went downstairs. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I went downstairs and opened the door, and there were 2 sheriffs standing there waiting to talk to me. My daughter had left home the night before to go hang out with a new group of friends, and she had been in and out of trouble a little bit over the past year and had overdosed in 2012 and survived, and then had come home about 6 months prior to January, so the end of 2014, saying that she needed help. Would we help her? She was 24 years old. We moved her back in the house. We had already turned her bedroom. She'd been out of the house for a number of years. We'd turned her bedroom into my office. So we turned our den into her bedroom. And for 6 months, she worked her rear off to get herself into recovery. I know now that 5, 6 months, I'm not discounting anybody that is in 5 months recovery. That is amazing. But you are still at the point that you are working your butt off. Well, she met a new group of friends and a new boyfriend, and felt like she could go out and do some of the things she had been doing once again and have a good time. He thought it would be a great idea for them to do heroin together, and it wasn't. So on January 31st of 2015, our life changed, and many of you know that change. I made the commitment when we had her service, when I gave the eulogy, I made the commitment right there, right then, in front of everybody there, that I would fight, do whatever I could for the rest of my life to make this thing go away. Well, fast forward about a year, and I met April Rivero, who is going to come up and talk here in just a second. One thing led to another. She was talking about wanting to do this event in North Carolina. She had a state director that was working on it. I happened to work with a company that built event exhibits. So it was kind of a perfect marriage. And this event started 7 years ago. So every year we come back together and we do this. And I hope that it gives people comfort. It gives people a way to honor their loved ones. This year there's over 400 names that we'll be reading when we start our candlelight vigil. And I hope everyone can be here for that. But none of this would have happened if it hadn't been for April and I connecting that first year. That first year, we were talking about 122 people a day dying from overdose and how absolutely ridiculous that was. Well, you all know where we are now. It's almost 400 a day. So, sorry. I renew that commitment. I will keep doing this. And I will keep working. So following the tragic overdose death of her 21-year-old son, Joey, April founded the National Coalition Against Prescription Drug Abuse in 2010 and has worked since then to prevent prescription drug-related substance use disorder and overdose deaths through her education of over 20,000 community members. In addition to her work with NCAPDA, April formed the Contra Costa County Meds Coalition in California in 2012 and is an active member of several other drug prevention coalitions and multiple advisory boards of agencies working to prevent drug abuse and overdose. April has received numerous awards recognizing her work, including from the American Red Cross, California Society of Addiction Medicine, California Narcotic Officers Association, the Contra Costa Office of Education, and she was most recently the 2023 awardee for the National Beacon of Hope Award and the Education 2.0 Outstanding Leadership Award. But most importantly for us, April has been the backbone of this event since the very first year. April and I connected while I was working for an event design company. I told you that. and we talked. She mentioned that she would like to do an event in North Carolina and that the state director at that time was working on it. Shortly, we had a plan in place to hold the first event right outside on the Bicentennial Mall. Since that time, April has been our fiscal sponsor and leader, mostly behind the scenes. We're very happy that we are able to have her here with us this year. April's tried to get here every year since COVID hit and has finally made it. So she's not expecting this, and it's not much. But the committee this year wanted to give April a little plaque, and it just says Award of Appreciation, presented to April Rivero in recognition of all the encouragement, support, and leadership of the annual iOAD NC Raleigh event, presented by the 2023 Planning Committee.
Oh, okay. Let me take a deep breath. All right, first of all, I am so happy to be here. As Randy said, it was actually even before COVID that I tried to come. I live in California, the Northern California Bay Area, and it's often, most years, in fact, we have International Overdose Awareness Day events there too. So when we do, I really need to be there because I'm the leader of the organization and we're sponsors. But I'm so glad that this year it's happened. I'm finally here. I'm finally able to meet these amazing folks that I've been working with on the planning committee forever, and especially Randy. Please give him a hand because he is amazing. He is the backbone of this event. We provide the fiscal sponsorship, and I, by the way, create the video. I don't actually put the video itself together, but all the slides. So please let us know if I've made a mistake because we try to get it perfect. But if we didn't, let us know and we can redo it, whatever section of it we need to. But anyway, it's been a real pleasure working with Randy and the other committee members. They're all so dedicated, and all of us have been impacted, and that's what drives us to this work. I wanted to share Joey. He's not in the video because we live in California. He actually passed away in Arizona. He was a senior attending Arizona State University, 21 years old, ready to graduate when we got that call, basically. Supposed to be home for the next day for winter break, and he came home in a casket. So I understand the grief and the loss that, those of you who have lost a loved one, deal with every single day. We lose our loved ones, we don't forget them. We learn to live without them, but it is not the same life we lived before. But I have always felt from day one that if we can, each one of us, do something every day to make a difference, we can make a difference. And I know those numbers keep going up, and that's so disappointing, But then I think, if I didn't do what I did today, if you didn't do what you did today and tomorrow, it would be worse, right? It would be worse. So we have to keep that in mind and not get discouraged and give up. We can't give up because every day matters. Thank you so much for this award. As Randy said, I've received awards here and there, but I will tell you this one's really special. And it's not just because of the fiscal sponsorship, but because of the connection I have to all of those of our planning committee members who have worked with us over the years. I want to point out a special person you may not be able to see because she's way back there in the corner. We have a booth or a table. And Catherine, can I see you? There you are. How many of you have a painting of a portrait of your loved one by Catherine? I hope many of you do, right? I do too. Okay. Catherine is the amazing artist that does those portraits. And she's been so generous to donate the painting back there that is an original painting piece of art by Catherine to help support our recovery fund. The recovery fund is especially important because it helps us send people in North Carolina. All money raised stays right here. And so Randy, 5 people so far? 6 people we've sent to recovery already. And we just got a generous donation that we'll be using. But if anyone is inclined to give us a donation for that beautiful piece of art, please contact me, Catherine, we're back here, Randy. It'll help support that effort. 100% of the proceeds will go to that event. I'm sorry, to helping with that cause. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, especially to Randy, planning committees. We've got Claudia, we've got so many, I can't possibly name everybody, but it's been a real pleasure working with everybody. There is so much work to be done in the Bay Area that we've kind of settled on, the counties and the Bay. You probably heard about San Francisco. It's really bad. It's everything you hear about. So we have plenty of work to do there, but I'm never going to give up on North Carolina. We will be here as long as Randy and others are up for this challenge here. So thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. I have to look at my agenda and make sure I'm not getting out of order here. Okay, so how many of you were at the event last year? Okay, so the next group that is going to come up was by far one of the most breathtaking experiences I've had in every year of doing this event. Lee Wright, and I always say that wrong. I know, and I just said I always say it wrong. Can I cheat and put an A behind it or something? Is the founder and executive director of Wake Monarch Academy, the first recovery high school of the Triangle area. Through her strong faith, career as an educator, and journey with her own son, Leah felt led to start a high school where adolescents recovering from substance use disorder could successfully pursue academic, personal, and professional goals in the safe and supportive environment. Leah?
Yeah, they are going to have to pass it, in just a minute. Good afternoon. I already have that. Thanks for the wonderful introduction, Randy. I have had the honor of, this is the 5th year I've had the honor to speak at this event, and it's hard, right? But to see that there's hope, right? And to see where we once were, and this was a dream, and at the very beginning of just planning this out to now going into our 3rd year opening. But before I share more about Wake Monarch Academy, I just wanted to say that my heart goes out to each and every one of the families and friends of the loved ones that we honor here today. It is so important that we continue to honor them and bring honor to those that have been lost to the disease of addiction, to continue to spread awareness, educate others, and fight the stigma that comes with addiction. Stories are all powerful, and we all represent one, and we represent a voice for those that we have lost. For those that we have lost, we have that voice, but also those that are not yet in recovery and those in recovery. So my heart goes out to each and every one of you. Randy told you a little bit about recovery high schools, and he did a great job. So it is high school students. Statistics show that when students are in treatment and they come back and they go back to the same environment in which they used, there's a 70% to use within 6 months. However, going to a recovery high school, there's a 30% chance because of that peer-to-peer recovery. So we also give support to our families, and we serve 9th through 12th grade and ages 13 to 21. As you've already mentioned, last year was an amazing opportunity because it was the first year that our students were able to share from the heart and share about their experience and what recovery means to them. Today, we have more students. I'm very excited. For many, this is the first time that they have spoken publicly. So they wrote their thoughts down before just to kind of calm their nerves a little bit. It takes a lot of courage to stand in front of a group. Everyone was not able to make it today, so some are reading for some of the students not here. Collectively, when you then walk up here, and we've got a few students not here, they all represent over 3,000 days in recovery. Stand in front of everyone. You gotta come stand up. So I will have some closing remarks at the end, but right now I'm going to turn it over for them to share, and I'm excited for you to hear from them.
Hey, I'm Bodie. I'm a student at Wake Monarch Academy, and Wake Monarch has provided a safe and accepting community that I can rely on for support and resources to stay sober. That being said, recovery as a whole has made my life better and easier in multiple places, such as my family and mental health in general. Another student that couldn't make it today, his name's Graham, also said Wake Monarch has helped me academically and in recovery. Recovery has set me in the right path in life and has improved my way of living.
I'm Kaylee. I'm 17. I've been at Wake Monarch for a little over almost 2 years now. Got there at 15 and a half years old, and I currently today, I'm very grateful for this school. Wake Monarch has given me a new life. I get to grow as a person, and for that I'm thankful. For me, sobriety is a matter of life or death. To me, I'm glad to be on the divine, purposeful side of life. I'm very grateful that I have this opportunity today. And another student who couldn't be here, his name's Sasha. He said, Wake Monarch Academy means a lot to me. It is a helpful, nurturing environment where I can go to expand my academic and life goals. I came here to make genuine connections and work on my mental and emotional health with a support system of people who care.
My name is Christian. I've been going to Wake Monarch for a little bit more than a year, and to me, Wake Monarch is a school where I can be myself and focus on my recovery while working towards my future. My recovery is so important to me because it has given me a new life. Instead of always sneaking around my parents, I now have an amazing relationship with them. Instead of always failing classes, I am now excited about getting school done. I now have amazing friends, don't rely on drugs to feel okay, and I genuinely love my life. And this is written by a student who as well could not be here today. His name is Samson, and he wrote, Wake Monarch means a lot to me with helping me progress throughout my recovery. It helps me through my journey, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. Recovery has brought me joy and happiness into my life and things that I thought I would never do.
I'm Violet, and I'm also a student at Wake Monarch. And Wake Monarch means to me getting support in a school system and a safe place that I can go where the staff knows what's going on in my life and they actually care to make a difference for me and help me build my life back up. And my recovery means to me a whole bunch of new things that are added to my life, like a whole new perspective change just of life in general, gratitude for things that I've never had gratitude for or never thought that I could, just healthy emotion coping for my life, getting to have real friends in my life, and figuring out who I am and just wanting to better my life and be a better person in general.
Hi, I'm Noah. I'm also a student at Wake Monarch, and I'm so grateful to be able to go to Wake Monarch. It has completely changed my perspective of school to where I want to learn and be able to grow, which was the completely opposite mindset when I went to public school. Recovery has opened my eyes to so much more, where I feel like I'm able to look at life through a completely different perspective than I did before. And I also am going to read another note that a student named BJ wrote. He said, what Wake Monarch has done for me is give me a chance to be in a good learning environment without having to worry about the temptation of using. What my recovery means to me is everything because I am learning to live a sober-free life and be the best possible version of myself I can be.
Hi, I'm Will Kalinsky. I started Wake Monarch about a week ago, and I'm just like grateful for it because it gives me an opportunity to like go through school with like being supported and actually like not having temptations to use, and like being sober just like lets me be a new person and like be an improved, better version of myself, and I'm just grateful for that.
Hi, my name is Dabney. I'm 17 years old. I have 177 continuous days of sobriety. I have been a student at Wake Monarch since March. For me, Wake Monarch is a place of hope. My definition of hope is hold on, pain ends. H-O-P-E, hope. Hope is a feeling and belief that the future can change if you change it. After multiple suicide attempts, I felt hopeless. Almost 6 months later, I now have a vision for my life. I want to make a difference in the world. I want to tell my story through music. I don't think I would still be alive if it were not for the love and support from the staff and students at Wake Monarch. Sobriety is not easy. It's a continuous battle every single day, but it's worth it. Looking back on my past, I now want nothing to do with drugs and alcohol. If you want the change, you have to make it. Sobriety is worth it.
You got another one?
Hello? Okay. Sorry. This is from another student that couldn't be here. His name is Devin. Devin says, the school has gave me another chance at life and to be with my family. And through recovery, I've gotten a better relationship with my family and to be genuine happiness. Thank you.
Can we just clap for them again? I mean, when we started this, we were like, man, if we could just make a difference in one, right? And we've had 2 graduates so far, and more to graduate, and so it is just an amazing thing. But I want to share a little bit more. The average enrollment for all 44 recovery high schools around the nation is between 25 and 30 students. In August of 21, we opened with 2 students. Now going into our 3rd year, we have 14, with 2 more on the way. Our goal is to grow to 20 students by the end of this school year, but we are already at 16. We want to encourage other areas to start their own recovery high school. It can be done, and we are willing to help in any way possible. There needs to be at least 1 recovery high school in every county and every state. But I did want to share something with you and truly ask for your help. More students means more expenses. And we want to continue to be able to meet the needs of our students well, so we've had to start a waiting list. We are outgrowing our space and continuing to go beyond the current numbers. We would also have to hire more staff and other things, such as the ability to continue offering scholarships and financial aid. We are a nonprofit, and most of the operating budget is raised through fundraising. Please go to our website, www.wakemonarchacademy.org, click on the events tab, and you will see 2 big fundraisers coming up. One on September 16th, which is our annual Be the Light 5K, and the other is our Gala for Recovery on November 4th. If you have the ability to participate, or companies have connections to business, please share with them. Help us spread the word. Recovery high schools work, and the need is great. And to start a waiting list breaks my heart, right? But we're not going to jeopardize the students that we have. We know that we have done a good job, and we will continue to do what they need. But we need more. We need more recovery high schools to make this. So the more we talk about it, the more we spread awareness, the better our youth are going to be with more opportunities. Help us spread awareness, get the word out. A recovery high school gives these adolescents that safe and supportive environment to be successful because they're with peers. And we know how important that peer recovery-based community is. Help us continue to save lives. And I'll tell you a story. This is the first time that we had what we call a check-in in the morning. And we work with the Campbell School of Law Restorative Justice Clinic, really just being proactive. And we change every semester. And so John Powell, who leads the clinic, had new law students that came. And so everybody was going around the room sharing how long they were in recovery. And it got to this one student. And it was the first time I'd really heard it. And I can say it without choking up. Said he got to him and he mentioned his name and he said, I have over a year in recovery. And he says, to be quite honest with you, if WMA wasn't here, I'd be dead. And when you hear that and you know you're making an impact, help us spread awareness because our youth need this. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, so this year's International Overdose Awareness Day theme was the unseen and recognizing those that are kind of out there, you know, on the front lines that maybe we don't think about every day, that we don't see, and that often go unseen. So the committee this year decided to start an annual award that we will start giving this year. And we will go forward in future years. I guess that's what it means by an annual award, right? We'll be doing that every year. So as we discussed it and we talked about who this year's award should go to, we talked about, well, who's out there seeing the good and the bad side of this, the side that is promising and the side that is often devastating. And we all came up unanimously almost at the same time with our EMS workers and our port teams. So they see the death. They see the opportunity to administer Narcan and save a life. And people often don't think about it. So this year we decided that we wanted to present the award to all EMS workers in the state of North Carolina. And we thought, well, how are we going to do that? We certainly can't get all EMS workers here, can we? So we started working on who we could get to be here. And we have joining us tonight to accept this award and speak, Dr. James Winslow. He grew up in Roxborough. His father is a family practice doctor in Roxborough. He grew up helping farm tobacco on his grandparents' tobacco farm. I can relate. He went to medical school at UNC Chapel Hill, graduated emergency medicine residency in 2002, earned his master's in public health in 2003. He has worked as attending physician in the trauma center at Baptist for the last 20 years. He's been medical director of North Carolina Office of EMS since 2011. In that role, he helps oversee 42,000 pre-hospital providers and pre-hospital care of the state. He also helps oversee designation of all trauma centers in North Carolina. He has a strong emphasis in addressing the opioid epidemic, preventing deaths, and finding innovative ways EMS can help stop the opioid epidemic. So we'd like to present this award. A copy of this is going to go in certificate form to all 100 counties, and I think the Cherokee, so it's 101. Cherokee Tribal will also receive it. So Community Impact Award, International Overdose Awareness Day, Annual North Carolina Raleigh Remembrance Event, presented to North Carolina Office of EMS in recognition of all EMS personnel for their dedication and hard work to reduce overdose death rates in the state of North Carolina. Presented by the 2023 iOAD NC Raleigh Event Planning Committee, Randy Abbott Chair, April Rivero, Executive Director, NCAPDA. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the recognition, and I just really appreciate being around y'all. Y'all do a lot of really wonderful work, and as representing EMS providers, we're part of the team, but what y'all do is extremely important, and hopefully we can do our part. I just wanted to say a few words here today. In preparation for this, my remarks, I tried to do a little research with our state EMS data system about some of our recent numbers, and I just thought it would be kind of interesting, and y'all would interested to see what these numbers were. So 5,393, that's the number of times EMS in North Carolina has given naloxone in just the past 3 months to the citizens of North Carolina. 20,846, the number of suspected overdoses EMS personnel have responded to this year. 149, the number of times EMS has attempted to resuscitate a patient with an opioid overdose, but that patient unfortunately died. That's 149 times this year. So whenever I try to visit EMS classes when the students are graduating, whether it's from an EMT, advanced EMT, or paramedic class, because I know they're going to confront a lot of pathos, a lot of really bad things, and it's our job to try to keep them from burning out and keep helping the citizens of North Carolina. So one thing that I try to remind them is that they're really doing God's work. They're there for people when they're on the side of the road shot. Maybe they're a victim of a car wreck. They will respond to someone on the side of the road when it's raining or in the woods when it's cold. They go to find people where they're at. They don't wait for people to come to them in their clinic. They go to their homes. Hardly any other part of the healthcare profession does that. And I think people need to realize that and just let those providers know that what they do is really important. Because I can't think of any other profession where people have the ability to function in almost any environment and be there for someone in the scariest times of their lives, and also for the family of that patient in the scariest times of their lives also. So I think that's probably one of the most important things to remember as far as EMS goes and what they do, because it's really hard to keep good EMS personnel these days. They're very highly trained folks, and they see a lot. They probably see some of the worst things you can ever imagine. And if a lot of folks in the regular world, if they do something to save a person's life once, they're going to remember that for the rest of their lives, and they're going to talk about that. With EMS personnel, they might do that 2 or 3 times, or maybe once or twice at least in a 12-hour, 24-hour shift. And they're going to come back and do that every day. And that really gives them a strong sense of satisfaction, but unless they kind of get the recognition that what they do is important, it's easy for them to get jaded and forget that what they do is really, really special. So please, whenever you see an EMS provider, whether it's an EMT, emergency medical responder, advanced EMT, or paramedic, please remind them that what they do is extremely important, because we can't keep losing them. Because in the way our communities are today, there's increasing alienation, there's increasing violence, there's increasing substance abuse, and more of our healthcare system is fragmented. EMS personnel are the only ones who still work for their communities. They work for their county commissioners. They live in their community. Whereas many parts of our healthcare system, the major institutions might be based in a different state or in a far-off city. So EMS personnel are really the only ones oftentimes who are still firmly committed to their communities. Obviously naloxone is very important. I gave you the numbers about the 5,393 times that EMS has given naloxone just in the past 3 months. We're trying to be innovative. North Carolina initiated the first EMS-based needle exchange in the country. We've also tried to be innovative by, I'm not saying we're sneaky, but we realized there was a gap there where we could start giving Suboxone to folks after an overdose. So North Carolina, along with New Jersey, was the first state in the country to take a patient and send a peer support person and other community paramedics to a person after an overdose, because we view that as a really important time to approach someone to see if they want help, because it's obviously a near-death experience. So we've had multiple counties which will now go out and reach out to someone after their overdose and ask them if they want to start Suboxone. And as I'm sure a lot of y'all know about Suboxone, but the great thing about Suboxone is it helps take away any cravings, helps reduce withdrawal, and it makes it not impossible, but very difficult to overdose when you have Suboxone on board. So we've got at least 7 or 8 counties who are in full swing using Suboxone now. We have one county in the far west who's has been doing it for about not quite a year, and they've already enrolled 200 people in their Suboxone program, and transition those folks to outpatient-based clinics, and they've had over a 60% success rate, which I know is a lot higher success rate than many abstinence programs. So we're really pushing that because we really want to move that forward, and we want to help our communities. But I guess my main point is if you see an EMS provider, please let them know that what they do is important, because I firmly believe that they do God's work. But when they see the same thing in and out every day, and they see the same horrific grief suffered by families over and over again, it's very easy for them to get jaded. So anything you can do to give them a pat on the back and let them know what they do is really important. We'd really appreciate it. And I know they will really appreciate this award, so thank you very much.
I think that's the right one. I think, I gotta look at the agenda again, but I believe, yes, that's gonna bring us up to our break. A couple of things I do wanna mention before we go to the break. Please visit the resource tables. I know it's a little crowded in here. I don't know, is it possible to find 10 more chairs during the break? Maybe. Okay, we'll see if we can find a few more chairs during the break so people can get to the room. I know we've had a little bit of trouble getting in the door. I really appreciate everyone being patient and working with us. I'm going to blame it on Tropical Storm, whatever its name was, Adelia or whatever. So I certainly didn't do this, I promise. But anyway. Couple of things I want to mention. I want to talk about some of our sponsors, and April mentioned the Treatment and Recovery Assistance Fund. So 4 years ago, we decided we wanted to start a fundraiser in conjunction with this event, and we created the iOAD NC Recovery and Treatment Assistance Fund. And what the fund is designed for is to help people who need transportation. They need the fees to get into an Oxford house, those upfront first few weeks. This is not a fund to pay for their recovery. Unfortunately, I wish we could make that much. This past year, on very limited funds, we went into this year after the event last year with just a little over $4,000. But we were able to help 6 people get into treatment or a recovery program with that $4,000. That's 6 people that may not have been able to do so. This year, the TWR Foundation has awarded us a grant of $10,000. There are a few stipulations on it with some of the ways that we have to use part of the money, but it's good stuff. It's in youth-based recovery and treatment awards. So we're very excited to have the opportunity to start taking applications for that after this event. If anybody knows someone that is looking to get into a treatment or recovery program, they do not have to stay in North Carolina for that program, but they do have to be from North Carolina. That is the only stipulation. And there is an application process and a screening and an interview and stuff that we have to go through. But that can usually happen within about 48 hours in most cases. So all funds, there are T-shirts available at the table still. Any funds raised in North Carolina stay in North Carolina, and they will go into that Treatment and Recovery Assistance Fund. So we're going to take a short break. I would ask you to please look at the sponsor banner out in the hall. There are sponsors on the other side of the one on the other side of the thing here. But take a look at those and recognize those sponsors, because without them, we would have had to have spent a lot more money to hold this event. So, thank you. Keep going. Start back in, we're running a little bit behind, but we'll start back in about 15 minutes.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. Walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. I've I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand. You just got to see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. I won't make it any other way. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Time, my back turned towards the sun. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours of time on the telephone line to talk about things to come. Sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. Seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you, baby, one more time again now. Thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things coming my way this time around now. Thought I'd see you far away
Why, God? That's the question I asked when the doctors told me my dad may not live another day. I remember in that season feeling like such a bad Christian, like I wasn't allowed to ask that question, why? But then I became a dad, and my little boy started asking those why daddy questions. And he didn't always understand the answers, but what he did understand is that he could ask me anything, and I wanted every single question, especially the hard ones. And it was there God showed me that he's not afraid of my hard questions either. And that asking why God didn't make me a bad Christian, it made me a kid. And he's my dad. Why, God, do people have to die? A daughter or a son, sudden and so young, long before their time. Why, God, do people fall apart? A promise and a ring becomes a broken thing, a road that got too hard. I don't understand, but I understand. Why, God, I need you. It's why, God, I run to your arms over and over again. It's why, God, I cling to your love and hold every single day, fighting through the pain, hoping there is hope. I don't understand, but I understand. Why, God, I need you. It's why, God, I run to your arms over and over again. It's why, God, I cling to your love and hold on for dear life. And I find you are right by my side. Oh, stronger than I have. I need to know when it hurts this bad that you hold my heart when it breaks, and I'm not alone in this pain. That's why, God, I need you. Why, God, I run to your arms over and over again. It's why, God, I cling to your love and hold on for dear life. And I find you are right by my side, always right by my side, even here in the wild, God. Sunday mornings were your favorite. I used to meet you down on Woods Creek Road. You did your hair up like you were famous, even though it's only church where we were going. Now, Sunday mornings I just sleep in. It's like I buried my faith with you. I'm screaming at the God I don't know if I believe in, 'cause I don't know what else I can do. I'm still holding on to everything that's dead and gone. I don't wanna say goodbye, 'cause this one means forever. Now you're in the stars, and 6 feet's never felt so far. Here I am alone between the heavens and the embers. Oh, it hurts so hard. For a million different reasons, you took the best of my heart and left the rest in pieces. Digging through your old birthday letters, a crumpled 20 still in the box. I don't think that I could ever find a way to spend it, even if it's the last 20 that I've got. Oh, I'm still holding on to everything that's dead and gone. I don't wanna say goodbye, 'cause this one means forever. Now you're in the stars, and 6 feet's never felt so far. Here I am alone between the heavens and the embers. Oh, it hurts so hard. For a million different reasons, you took the best of my heart and left the rest in peace. I'm still holding on, holding on, holding
heart, 'cause this one means forever. Now you're in the stars and 6 feet never felt so far. Here I am alone between the heavens and the embers. Oh, it hurts so hard for a million different reasons. You took the best of my heart.
I need everybody's attention a half a second. I need all Alcohol and Drug Council of North Carolina employees that are here to please come out in the foyer outside. We'll get started back in about 5 minutes.
Trying to fill the same old holes inside. There's a better life. There's a better life. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom, a savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. We've all searched for the light of day in the dead of night. We've all found ourselves worn out from the same old fire. And we've all run to things we know just ain't right. And there's a better life. There's a better life. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom, a savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, well, he's a chain breaker. If you believe it, if you receive it, if you can feel it, somebody testify. If you believe it, if you receive it, if you can feel it, somebody testify, testify. If you believe it, if you receive it, if you can feel it, somebody testify. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom, a savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. Oh, if you need freedom, a savior, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, well, he's a chain breaker. Sing my share of broken halos, folding wings that used to fly. They've all gone wherever they go. Oh, I don't want to turn broken halos that used to shine.
All right.
Angels come down from the heavens just to help.
Okay, so we're going to get started back. If everybody could work their way back to their seats, or at least maybe start listening, and because we've got another good presentation coming up. Nobody listens to me at home either, so I'm good. I'm used to it. I know, thank you. Ben's listening to me. All right, if everybody would start to wrap up their conversations, we do need to get started back. We're a little bit behind. So I want to try to get us back on track a little bit. And we will take another break or two before the night is over. So, all right. I'm going to have to turn the lights out on everybody in a minute. Isn't that what the teacher does? Do the teachers still do that in school when the kids are, and they turn the lights out and everybody immediately just stops? All right. So we're going to do another quick Narcan presentation and training and hear our story. But I want to introduce the person who's going to lead that for us first. So Justin Garrity is in sustained recovery, which he attributes to a supportive community, community resources, and active networking with other individuals following similar recovery pathways. Justin currently serves as the Director of Recovery Services at Healing Transitions Men's Campus, a nonprofit homeless shelter with a long-term, peer-based recovery program. Prior to taking this role, he served as the Rapid Response Administrator at Healing Transitions, overseeing a post-overdose response team that sends peer support specialists with Wake County EMS to follow up on opioid overdose survivors. He lives in Wake Forest with his wonderful wife and their 3 cats. And you have my sympathy with 3 cats. I've got 2, and I don't know how you do 3.
I love them cats, man.
I've got one that will seek you out and hurt you.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks,
Justin.
Thanks for the introduction. I really appreciate all the speakers we've had before this. Real appreciative that EMS won that award. I think they do go unrecognized, and they are absolute heroes. So impressed with those cats from Monarch Academy. Are there any of those students still here? They're coming back. I just know myself, I think a lot of us here in recovery really wish we would have maybe gotten it a little sooner. So it's very impressive what you all are doing over there at Monarch. On the schedule, it said I was going to share my story, but I got a guy whose story is much more interesting than mine. And so we're going to bring up Mr. Jason to talk a little bit about his how he has interacted with some of our teams and services at Healing Transitions.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jason Atkinson. Currently staying at Healing Transitions. I've been there the last 6 months. I first became aware of Rapid Response 2 years ago. These guys came and saw me the night after I overdosed. That night it took 6 Narcans to bring me back. And the next morning, Dane showed up at my house. Some guy just drove up, pulled up, and I came wheeling out. And like, who are you, And he's like, yeah, from Healing Transitions, Rapid Response. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, we got your report that you overdosed. Would you like to get some help? No, I don't want any help. No, I don't have a problem. No. But can you leave the Narcan? So he did. He left the Narcan. And then after that, I overdosed again. And we used that Narcan that he had left, thank God. But then a couple months later, actually, I went to jail. Spent 6 months in jail then. Dane came and saw me then, and I didn't want any help. No, I'm okay. I'm good. So then, fast forward a few months when I got out last August, I met another member of Rapid Response, Trish, at a friend of mine's house. And I did not want to go meet her either, or Bruce, neither one of them. But that lady that I was with, she was like, just come on out. They're giving out supplies. And I'm like, okay. So I go out, and they introduce themselves. And, what stuck out, I was expecting to see some judgmental people, that ones that would kind of look down. on me or whatever. But what I saw was people who were just like me, who also had addiction problems, but had overcome them. And you know, they Trish kept asking me, "You want to go to Healing Transitions? Would you like to go to detox?" No, I'm fine. I'm fine. And I was like, "Can you leave the needles though?" So she did. And one of the biggest things that happened is last December, this past Christmas, my parents didn't want me around. I wasn't allowed to see my son. I was at the height of my addiction. And Trish reached out to me like 2 days before Christmas and asked me, you know, "Jason, if you need anything, please give me a call. I hope you and your family are doing well. I'm just thinking about you." And you know, that email stood out to me. Just that one little personalized thing that somebody did when nobody wanted me around. The cops were going to be called. You know, stood out and touched me. And it was 3 weeks later, I go back to jail. So in a 13-month period, I stayed in jail 9 months. Well, the last go around, I was like, okay, you might have a problem. I wasn't willing to admit I did have a problem, but started thinking, okay, you might have a problem. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do here. But it was like God had something just popped in my head. It said, if you get clean, you'll get your son back. And I told God, I said, I don't know how to stay clean. And it popped in my head, rehab. And 2 days later after that, because I was talking to God, I was like, okay, I might try it. I might try rehab when I get out of here. But then Dane came back to jail, and because Trish had received a report that I was in jail, and he came and asked. He said, "Are you ready to get some help now?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it." So from there, I went to Healing Transitions, and I've currently been there 6 months. And thankfully now I get a chance to work with Rapid Response. So that's where I'm doing my commitment in the final phase. And that's what means the world to me, because I finally get to give back, you know, to people that were the voices that I heard while I was messing up. They were the ones that I was like, I know I should go there, but I just wasn't ready at the time. But the thing that worked for me is they didn't give up on me. Nobody gave up on me. They kept trying. And the work that Rapid Response does is huge. They give out the supplies, the Narcan, the naloxone in different forms, as well as, you know, harm reduction supplies. And every aspect of the program I was involved in, from the harm reduction supplies to the Narcan, to them reaching out into the jails and institutions. And honestly, if it wasn't for the work that they do with Rapid Response, I wouldn't be here. I would not be here. I probably would be dead. And if not dead, definitely be in jail. And because they didn't give up on me, gave me hope that I could possibly recover. And now I've got 7 months. So, thank you.
How many times have you overdosed?
At least three. At least three. I know three times.
How long did the peer supports follow up with you?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
So we go 2 years of overdose, syringe exchange, jail, and now we're in.
Yeah. 2 years. 2 years. And they, you know, I always say that they are the vessels that God uses to speak to people who are at their lowest point. When they're at the lowest point in their life and don't believe in themselves, you've got these people that are God's vessels. They're his angels that he uses to plant the seed of hope. And that's what they did for me. They planted a seed of hope that I might be able to do better. And then it took me working this program at Healing Transitions to believe in myself. But if it wasn't for their work, I wouldn't have even tried. Thank you.
Just a couple of closing remarks. You know, we're very privileged to have the opportunity to have a post-overdose response team with peer supports that can follow up, but this is something that is happening all over the state with a lot of new harm reduction programs, a lot of innovative post-overdose response teams. I think that the message that we're trying, or the value I've seen in this program over the past 5 years, is the constant connection. You know, I think it's really important in recovery with all these different providers that we have here. So many, everyone does such a good job because we stick with people. You know, because people are they're gonna get to some low spaces, but we got to be there to reach the hand down and help them up. I wanted to mention a couple things, or really just one thing. How many are familiar with xylazine? How many are unfamiliar with that word? So xylazine is kind of, it's been here for a few years, but it's really, we're finding it a lot more in the drug supply here in Wake County, particularly Raleigh, particularly North Raleigh. It is a tranquilizer. Sometimes you'll hear it called trank. It is a horse sedative. It is a respiratory depressant, and it can make you go to sleep for a really long time. And it also has a synergistic effect with opioids, particularly fentanyl. So a lot of times people get a bag of fentanyl with xylazine in it, and what it also does is kind of gives the fentanyl or the high legs. So you take the fentanyl and the high lasts longer. Some people are just getting straight xylazine. We found that our folks don't really, they like it, it's okay, but you just go to sleep for 4 hours. But if there's a suspected overdose with xylazine, where xylazine is involved, we still want to provide naloxone for those folks. Because even though naloxone does not work on xylazine, because xylazine is not an opiate or opioid, if someone has ingested an opioid, using the naloxone will reverse that overdose, and then we're listening to see what their breathing is like. So if we ever start hearing someone not breathing like 10 breaths in a minute, that's where we really got to be cautious about stuff like that. Or anytime you see that situation, of course, we're calling emergency responders. But just wanted to make everyone aware of that. Xylazine also causes skin necrosis, so people are, like, their skin is just dying, it's turning black, people are having to lose limbs because of it. It first kind of hit in Puerto Rico in the late 2000s, then it moved up to Philadelphia, and it's been around there probably 2016, 2017, and it's kind of slowly made its way down south, and now it's impacting a lot of the drug supply. But it's nasty, it's dangerous, we're probably going to see it more and more. So just wanted to make you all aware. There's a lot more information on the internet about it. We do have a couple just kind of fact sheets on xylazine that UNC Chapel Hill and I think the NC's Urban Survivors Union put together. UNC Chapel Hill also has a drug testing device that you can provide them a sample, and they will tell you every element that is in that sample. So we're interested to see why some of the methamphetamine that the folks we're working with is making them sleepy. So we want to be able to provide samples to UNC for this drug testing. Xylazine testing strips are available. They were a little bit expensive, but we found a company called Dance Safe. It's one of the it provides a lot of harm reduction supplies, that if you purchase in bulk, you can get them at a pretty reduced price. Anyway, thank you all for listening, and thank everyone for being here.
Thank you, Justin. You heard me ask everyone with Alcohol and Drug Council of North Carolina to move out into the foyer earlier so we could get a group picture. As of this past April, I have had the honor to be a part of that team. And can tell you that I have learned more in those few months about what is going on in the field with people who use drugs than I could have ever learned in 100 years. The struggle is real. The struggle to find treatment and recovery is real. So we ask, and he graciously accepted, Daryl Hubbard to please be with us tonight and to speak and let people know exactly what's going on out there. So Daryl has operated as a leader at the Alcohol Drug Council of North Carolina for 8 years. With 15 plus years of leadership experience in behavioral health and human services, he's eager and excited and embraces his new role. He's committed to furthering the mission of Alcohol Drug Council of North Carolina while partnering with community stakeholders and ensuring that individuals impacted by mental health and substance use disorders receive the care they so desperately need. Daryl? I don't know where he is.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate that. Hello, everyone. Hey, yeah, baby's down in the front. As Randy mentioned, my name is Daryl Hubbard, and I currently have the pleasure of serving as the Executive Director for the Alcohol Drug Council of North Carolina. What we do, we're a nonprofit based here in Raleigh, and we provide support services for individuals that are seeking help throughout the state. Our office is located here in Raleigh. We service the entire state. Individuals can call our hotline no matter where they are in the state, 800-688-4232. alcoholdrughelp.org is our website. We have a team of individuals, some of which in the room right now. If you're part of our team right now, could you raise your hand just to be recognized? You're doing some amazing work. So I'll tell you a little more about what we do at ADCNC, but I wanted to share also some of just the personal connection of some of where I pull my passion for the work that we do. I'm wearing on my shirt my cousin Larry Haynes. He passed away in 2018, and I know pills were involved in his death. I don't know the full story, but nonetheless, first responders, they administered Narcan, and that didn't bring him back. I found a silver lining that I was grateful that the people that he was with, they were forthcoming and shared that information with the paramedics to at least give him a chance at life. But I've been impacted by substance use disorder. I lost my grandfather in the 90s. My father-in-law passed away from issues connected to substance use disorder in 2019. So I just say that to share that that's part of where I draw my passion for the work that we do, and that it impacts us all in so many ways, and sometimes we don't even know it. And so part of the work that we do at the Alcohol Drug Council, it aims to reduce stigma. People are suffering, families are impacted, people are dying, and sometimes people aren't getting help because of the shame and stigma that's attached to it. So our team works tirelessly to try to eliminate that stigma so that people feel confident that help is available. We hear from individuals over the phone. People can access our information and services via chat, text message, emails. We have a self-serve portal on our website where an individual can go to our website, type in their zip code, and look up resources and do refined search filters on their own without even talking to someone, if that's where a person is. We really try to make access to information and resources available to everyone, no matter what the circumstances. There's no charge for our services. We operate with support from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, a block grant, and we've had that for a number of years, and hopefully it will continue for many more. The state of North Carolina has been fully behind us, and they want us to exist. Unfortunately, there's a need, but we're one of the institutions where they're trying to make a difference and provide access to resources to people. So that's a little bit about what we do. So I just wanted to say that I'm terribly sorry for the reason that we have to be here. I understand the pain that goes along with losing a loved one. Today has been a tough day for me. I was just kind of thinking about and what I was going to say when I got up here, and I was missing my cousin dearly. He taught me how to fish, and he taught me how to ride a dirt bike, and so many things that I didn't think a substance would have been the reason that would have taken him away from this earth so soon. So I just say that to say that I can relate to the impact this has on all of us as families, and our team is doing everything in our power to help people to not lose themselves or a loved one. We hear from relatives, we hear directly from people that are calling to get help for themselves. Sometimes we hear from relatives that are trying to reach out for that person. And our team of people work tirelessly to no end to provide resources and support. So thank you all for sharing some time with me. One of the things that I would like to point out on our website, alcoholdrughelp.org, and it's live right now. In the coming months, we're going to be fine-tuning our system as we roll it out and getting some feedback. But just check it out. Look around, give us feedback, drop us a line if you feel like there's something that's missing or something that could be adjusted. We want to hear from you. But we're doing our part to try to make a difference and bridge the gap. As Dr. Winslow mentioned earlier, it is a fragmented system that exists, and we're just trying to do our part to be an ear and to bridge that gap to help people find resources. Thank you, Randy, and the rest of your team for putting this event together, and thank you for this moment.
So there are a number of things I do, different types of advocacy and things that I'm involved in. And I'm gonna struggle with the year here. When was the first summit that where I met? 2017. Yep. So I was able to go to North Carolina opioid summit and met our next two presenters who had each lost their sons, who were best friends in 2017. Since then, they've been vocal advocates for the Good Samaritan law and what is needed to make it effective. They've given talks at schools and multiple events to increase awareness and have met with key legislators. They have teamed with the North Carolina Harm Reduction and are part of the Expand Good Sam NC Coalition, working to get a Good Sam bill on the agenda. Mary O'Donnell and Julie Cummins.
Thanks, Randy. So I'm Mary O'Donnell, and this is Julie Cummins. 6 years ago, we each lost our sons. They drowned after drinking too much or taking too much Xanax, just partying. They were best friends, and they died weeks apart after others left them behind. And like many other people, they would likely be here today had their friends called for help. We spoke at this event last year about the need for changes to our Good Samaritan law in North Carolina, and some work that a group of us were kicking off. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Good Samaritan law, which we actually often find is true, people aren't aware of it, is the real intention of it is to protect people who call for help for either themselves or for somebody that they're with, and to give them immunity, both the caller and the individual who's struggling. This law actually exists in, I think it's 48 states, but the specifics vary by state. And in North Carolina, our Good Samaritan law is one of the most restrictive in the country. So today we wanted to share just a brief update on the Good Samaritan work that our coalition's been doing over the past year. At last year's event, we had started talking, we actually kind of announced that we were kicking off this coalition. And since then, our coalition has grown, and we have 400 individuals part of the coalition, over 100 faith leaders, and over 20 organizations. We drafted a bill, SB 458. You can type that into Google and see the specifics of our bill. And we got Senator Hannick to agree to sponsor it, along with Senator Moffitt and Senator Adcock as co-sponsors. The senators even had a big joint press event with our coalition, and we were thrilled. But as we all know, it's very difficult making progress with politics involved. And so we've had a number of challenges, and Julie's going to give you a brief update on that. Excuse me.
So with that said, we were warned that the bill would have some opposition and that we would need to make changes in order to move it forward, but we originally put it out as strong as possible to, catch any loopholes so that people would feel safe calling to save a life. We did make some concessions. We tried to take out the more controversial things so that it would move forward. But when the bill seemed to stall, we took those out and then tried to meet with law enforcement, because law enforcement is the key that you have to get through in order to get to the Rules Committee. We tried to meet with the Chief of Police Association, and we tried to meet with the North Carolina Sheriff's Association, and had no luck with even obtaining a meeting with them. Unfortunately, that's where we are right now. This bill is stalled, and we are desperate to find a way in with law enforcement in order to move forward in a positive way for this bill. We reached out to Georgia. They have done a really good job on their Good Sam law, and there's a woman there named Tanya who was a law enforcement officer. She had a personal experience. She lost her daughter to overdose, and at that point, she wasn't worried about her job. She wasn't worried about any kind of elected official thing, and she went out and fought hard. She had the respect of the Chief of Police Association there in Georgia. She had the respect of the Sheriff's Association because of her strong ties to law enforcement, and she had been on the force for quite some time. So she was able to really push and get the changes made that needed to be made. In North Carolina, we need someone like Tanya. We need someone who's in law enforcement and has a personal story and is willing to share it. Or we need someone in law enforcement who is close to someone who has a personal story. So our plea today is, if any of you have any connections with law enforcement across the state or the DA's Association, please let us know so that we can work together to try to get an audience with them. We're not trying to do something that's never been done. These things that we want in our law to make it the best Good Sam law, or one of the better Good Sam laws, they've been done in other states, and in those states, they're showing a much higher rate of calls being made and a much higher rate of lives being saved. So North Carolina can have that kind of a law, but we just need that in. So please, just if anybody has that information, if they know of someone in law enforcement or if they have close ties, please stop by our booth and let's work together to make that connection.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to say Randy is a huge part of the Expand Good Sam Coalition, and he is amazing in everything he does with us. So.
Thank you. So I have 3 wristbands that I wear. One, I got at the very first event that I went to in Washington, D.C. after my daughter died. And it was this big, huge concert in D.C. To start making change. I met a group there that was from Wisconsin that I still keep in touch with today. They were some of the first people that I ever talked to that had a connection to loss, that had lost someone, and that was out fighting. And the name of the organization was Stop Heroin Now. They've since rebranded, and I think their new name is Start Hope now, if I remember correctly. But they gave me a band at that event. I've been through about 6 of them, but I've had one on since that event. It never comes off. I've even been to the hospital, and they tried to take it off, and I threatened their life. The other one is one that I ordered offline right after that. And it says, "Ask me about my angel." I want people to ask. I want people to know. And the other one is "Be kind, leave no one behind," which is from the Good Sam Coalition, from Mary and Julie's first efforts. My daughter, when she overdosed, the people she was with panicked. They didn't call 911. We found out several years later that totally by chance, that from the time they finally did call 911 to the time the first responder first arrived on the scene was just a matter of just a couple of minutes. She was 2 blocks away, sitting inside the UNCG police station, and she was the first one on the scene. Had they called immediately, I may not be here today, which would be perfectly fine. So what Mary and Julie are saying is so real. We've gone from 122 people a day in the U.S. 7 years ago to 394, I think it was this past year. If people can't look at the numbers and see that things need to change, we are not, I'm preaching it, I'm sorry, we are not going to arrest our way out of this. And anybody that thinks we can is wrong. We've proven that for 50 years now. All right, I'm done preaching, sorry. So we are going to take another short break. This will be a little bit of a short one, and then we'll come back with our final speaker, and then another quick break. And then I hope everyone will stick around for the candlelight vigil and for the reading of names. I know we're inside the Capitol. I don't know if you've seen the Capitol. It's a mess out there anyway. So we weren't going to be able to walk up to the Capitol like we normally do every year. But we've got something that we hope will be just as meaningful tonight, and I hope everyone will stick around for the reading of names and the candlelight vigil. So quick break, and then we'll start back.
Sing my share of broken halos, folding wings that used to fly.
Sorry, one thing I did forget that I wanted to mention to everyone. Medication disposal kits are a great way to clean out your medicine cabinet so you don't have medication ending up on the street, and there are several of us with them. Please take plenty home.
Angels come down from the heavens just to help us on our way. Come to teach us, then they leave us, and they find some other soul to save. Sing my share of broken halos, folded wings that used to fly. They've all gone wherever they go, broken halos that used to shine, broken halos that used to shine. Don't go looking for the reasons. Don't go asking Jesus why. We're not meant to know the answers. They belong to the by and by. They belong to the by and by. Sing my share of broken halos, folded wings that used to fly. They've all gone wherever they go, broken halos that used to shine, broken halos that used to shine, broken halos that used to shine, broken halos that used to shine.
you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Would it be the same if I saw you in heaven? I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in heaven. Would you hold my hand if I saw you in heaven? Would you help me stand if I saw you in heaven? I'll find my way through night and day, 'cause I know I just can't stay here in heaven. Time can bring you down, time can bend your knee. Time can break your heart, have you begging please, begging beyond the door. There's peace, I'm sure, and I know there'll be no more tears in heaven. Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Would it be the same if I saw you in heaven? I must be strong and carry on, 'cause I know I don't belong here in heaven. 'Cause I know I don't belong here in heaven.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began.
You know we started.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Let me tell you.
When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong. And what's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach, so remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Let the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every memory as you go, and every road you take will always lead you home. Alright. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you
Okay, if everybody could work their way back to their seats. I know that seemed like a really short break, but I'm going to get us back on schedule here, I hope. Somebody stick your head out the door and let everybody know that we're starting back. Maybe they'll come back in. It's really nice outside, which really, really does not make me happy. I told somebody on my way over here, I had a phone call, and somebody asked her, we got to move back outside now? I was like, no. But I think what I'm going to do is go find a couple of fire hoses and just spray them on the windows so everybody thinks it's raining. Come on, that was good. All right, so we're going to start back in a couple of logistics items for what we're going to do for the reading of the names and the candlelight vigil tonight. I wanted to just kind of make everybody aware now. So we're going to have, in just a second, we're going to have Chris Budnick come up and speak to us as our final speaker of the evening. And I think you'll find what he has to say extremely important and extremely eye-opening. So I hope everyone will move inside and be here for that. For the reading of the names, we're going to read the names inside tonight. But as we would normally walk around the Capitol, we're not going to be able to do that, as I mentioned earlier. But what we are going to do during the next break, and people can actually start getting them at any time, pick up candles. Obviously, we can't use real candles. They have to be battery operated. We don't need to be burning any buildings down or anything, or getting wax in the carpet and having to clean it. So the candles are all back at the T-shirt table there, and you can pick up a candle at any point. So what we're going to do is during the reading of the names, if I'm able to do so, I'm going to have the lights lowered, and we're going to read all 429 names by county tonight. So after that, we will process very short distance out the door to the patio and have our final moment. We have a special poem that was written just for us for this event and other events. And so that poem will be read, and then we'll have our final word out on the patio. So without any further delay, Chris Budnick is the executive director at Healing Transitions and has been working in the addiction treatment and recovery field since 1993. He graduated from East Carolina University in 2000 with a Master of Social Work. He was an intern from 1999 to 2000 with Healing Transitions and has been employed with them since 2000. Chris has been an adjunct instructor with the North Carolina State University Department of Social Work since 2002. He currently serves on the board of directors for the Downtown Raleigh Alliance, Preserving the Message, and Recovery Alliance Initiative. And he serves on the Wake Monarch Academy Advisory Board. Chris has been in recovery since May 21st of 1990. Chris.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you for those who continue to be of service every day in the community to help those in need, and for those who have worked so hard each year to put on this event. What I want folks to know is that people are remembered every day. It's not today only. It's not just International Overdose Awareness Day. I'm incredibly inspired by the work that a lot of our participants do at Healing Transitions, and I was regretful that I missed the women's response team. So I just wanted to talk for a minute about the power of peers and the power from folks who are taking their own lived experience and trying to do something positive to make a difference. And so we've been a combination of both good preparation, good training, and a whole bunch of grace. We've recognized that overdose is a risk factor for folks that we serve, and sometimes people who are in the process of coming to get services. So I think the numbers that Justin shared with me is that since 2018, we've had 34 overdose reversals at the men's campus and about 13 at the women's campus. And that comes from creating a culture and a context for people to understand what overdose looks like and how to respond. So I remember when overdoses started to rise in visibility and prominence, we had IM Narcan in our detox, and after an overdose that happened in the community, we realized, hey, when people leave, they may not come over to detox to get Narcan. And so it evolved so that Narcan is throughout the facility more frequently than fire extinguishers, and is worn around the necks by people who are working and so forth. And then we had an overdose reversal, and we realized, geez, you can give all the training about what to do, but until people are in that actual situation, and it can be very difficult to, so we started the practice of doing drills. And so that's really happened under, the supervision of staff, and then really kind of the ownership of the participants. So the women that were out here who had the opportunity to do the naloxone training, one, it's just inspiring. Two, it's such a inviting and welcome embrace for them from you, right? So for them to be able to come here and find value in the things that they're doing today to make a difference is incredibly meaningful. And I know that that will lift their spirits up in the days to come, that they were invited to be a part of this. At Healing Transitions, we operate under some guiding principles. We could probably elaborate or evolve those some, but they've always involved kind of like try to remove barriers to help, provide services when people ask for it or present for help, don't tell them come back tomorrow, and so forth. Those guiding principles are great. They're difficult to implement. They're difficult to implement in a community where the population has grown in Wake County about 78% since we opened in 2001. During a period when COVID has reduced provider capacity, as homelessness has been on the rise, as we've seen service providers disappear. And, I think this may be part of why I've been asked to speak, is just casual conversations with people. And I describe like, well, what's happening at Healing Transitions? Well, we started a capital campaign a few years ago to add beds to get us to infrastructure from 165 at our men's to an infrastructure of 290. And I tell you that the other night we were at 315 and expansion hasn't really started. And at our women's campus, we're at a place where we're expanding from a design capacity of 88 to get us to 210. And the other night we were at 165. And so, we continue to say yes. We continue to not turn people away. It's tough. We had, between our two campuses the other night, 516 people. We had 350 at our men's, 167 people in our administration building sleeping on mats, 10 people sleeping in chairs. We saw last year in 2022 an incredible spike in detox admissions. From 2021, we had 1,900 detox admissions at our men's campus, and a year later, we had 3,400 detox admissions. I often get lost in the immediacy of the downstream response, that I lose sight of the upstream, innovations that are happening and that hopefully can bring some more sustainable change for folks in our community. But it literally feels like, the starfish analogy, overwhelmed at times. So what helps me, and I'll say, September 1993, I ended up doing an internship. I had gotten into recovery as I was turning 19. I realized I'd majored in psychology because I got enough insight to realize I'd majored in psychology because I'd been sent to counselors all my life. And so it was kind of like, you got a semester left, what are you going to do? And they gave me an opportunity to do an internship at a place called the Good Hope Center. The patients there called it the Good Dope Center. But that was my entry into the field. The field was so bad that they hired me after I graduated with little experience and became like the senior person on second shift. I mean, that's just, the workforce development was that bad that somebody who's that young with that little experience could be in charge on second shift. So nonetheless, I will say that as I am approaching this 30-year milestone of being in this field, I've learned an awful lot, and I feel like I know a lot less. And so I sometimes wonder, like, why are they asking me to speak? What is it that, I've got to say or to share? So I guess what I wanted to kind of focus on just here at the end for a couple things is that it's hard to believe that I work in a setting and in a field that can be simultaneously experiencing the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, sometimes within hours of one another. And as I left my 60th funeral a couple Fridays ago, went to dinner with a coworker, and And the funeral was, it's like, geez, we were just here 2.5 years ago for his sister, We were just here almost 3 years ago for his fiance at the same funeral home. And then leave there, and me and a coworker sitting at this restaurant and look over, oh my God, there's 2 guys there who are sharing a meal, who are both in recovery, and who are going to pick up other guys to take them to a meeting, And it's like, how miraculous, And then all of a sudden another guy walks by in the same restaurant, and that guy just marked 13 years of recovery. And it was like, oh, wait a second, I connected that guy with that guy because the guy with 13 years of recovery just got his master's in engineering at NC State, and the guy who's got 3 years over there is following his footsteps, just going back to Wake Tech. So I say that to say that proximity to you, proximity to those who have lost, to those who are doing well, are important for me. I feel less and less like an addiction professional the longer I've been doing this. And I've had this conversation with people because I end up doing things that, they don't teach you in grad school. They don't teach you as you get in your certification. They don't tell you that saying, hey, I love you is an appropriate therapeutic intervention. And so, a tough loss recently, this is what our relationship, our 17-year relationship had kind of boiled down to. Me, text, love you. Response, a minute later, love you too, man. Next day, sending love. Response, love, man. Next day, love you. Love you too, man. Next text. Lynn from Oxford House is hoping you are okay. Yeah, I'm fine. They got some grant money to help you with if you need some help. I didn't think that 30 years into the field I'd be saying that the thing that I feel most effective in as a licensed clinical addiction specialist and a licensed clinical social worker is simply to let somebody know that they are loved and that, and I don't know if that's wrong, but that's like where I'm at, is just, I mean, it just sometimes feels like that's the most important thing and the most concrete thing I can do. So the last thing that I just want to say, and I feel like I've spoken a little bit too long, but I want to say that this is prevention happening today, and it's an acknowledgement to those who, there's no wrong way to deal with the pain, right? There's people who, parents who want to stay as far away from this type of an event because it is just too painful, and that's fine. And there's parents and families that are here that are showing up inspired by that pain. And I want to commend that because that will prevent suffering, that will prevent a loss of life. What you guys are doing today and putting on is a form of prevention. This quote has been meaningful to me, and it came from a guy who co-founded Little Free Libraries. You guys familiar with that? A socialist library movement or something? Give away free books. He said that when his mother passed, he was inspired by this concept, and he had bracelets made for folks, and they were inscribed with his mother's name, and they said June. His mother's name was June A. Bowl, 1927, hyphen, and nothing else. And they asked him why isn't there a date for her passing? And he said there's an Indian saying that says nobody really dies until all they've touched are gone. And everything that you guys are doing today, hopefully, the way I like to think about it are keeping that second date open, that their lives are still touching other people. And as long as we continue to speak their names, remember their impact, remember their experiences, we will keep that alive. So thank you for letting me be a part.
Thank you, Chris. Told you you'd want to stick around for that. So one more thing before we go into our final break. Frida McDonald is going to read our governor's proclamation.
And it is my honor to do so. By the Governor of the State of North Carolina, a proclamation. Whereas from 1999 to 2021, more than 1 million Americans, including more than 33,000 North Carolinians, died from drug overdose deaths. According to updated Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates, the combined medical, social, and personal cost of drug overdose deaths in North Carolina totaled over $37 billion in 2020 alone. And whereas the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated this crisis, with overdose deaths increasing 72% since 2019. 4,041 North Carolinians lost their lives to overdose in 2021. The highest recorded number in a single year. And whereas the rates of overdose are increasing fastest among Black African American North Carolinians, with a 139% increase in their overdose death rate from 2019 to 2021, and American, Indian, Indigenous communities having the highest overdose rate at 94.1 deaths per 100,000 residents in 2021. And whereas since 2020, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services has distributed over 719,000 doses of naloxone, the life-saving overdose reversal medication, and whereas more than 33,000 individuals received treatment for opioid use disorder from one of the 83 opioid treatment programs in North Carolina. Learn more about treatment programs, syringe services programs, and other evidence-based strategies to prevent overdose deaths in North Carolina at www.morepowerful.org. And whereas the historic opioid settlement provides a critical opportunity for communities across North Carolina to invest in evidence-based overdose prevention strategies to curb this heartbreaking trend. And whereas Overdose Awareness Day is a day to remember those in our great state and across the country whose lives have been lost to overdose, honor family and community grief, acknowledge and address stigma related to substance use and substance use disorders across the continuum, and renew our commitment to ending the overdose crisis. Now, therefore, I, Roy Cooper, Governor of the State of North Carolina, do hereby proclaim August 31st, 2023 as Overdose Awareness Day in North Carolina and commend its observance to all citizens. Thank you for letting me read.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. I'm going to ask if we can maybe have one or two volunteers grab candles and walk around with them. Other people can go to the table and grab candles. If everyone would, we are about 5 minutes behind schedule, so if everyone would take about 10 minutes, get your candles, and please come back in here so we can begin reading names right at quarter after or shortly thereafter. I would appreciate it. Thank you.
I dreamed I was missing. You were so scared, but no one would listen, 'cause no one else cared. After my dreaming, I woke with this fear. What am I leaving when I'm done here? So if you're asking me, I want you to know, when my time comes, forget the one that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be left. Don't resent me, and when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Don't be afraid of taking my beating, of shit that I made. I'm strong on the surface, not all the way through. I've never been perfect, but neither have you. So if you're asking me, I want you to know, when my time comes, forget the one that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me, and when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Forgetting all the hurt inside you've learned you had so well. Pretending someone else can come and save me from myself. I can't be who you are. When my time comes, forget the one that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me, and when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Forgetting all the hurt inside you've learned you had so well. Pretending someone else can come and save me from myself. I can't be who you are. I can't be who you are.
That a lot of the resource tables are packing up, and that's fine. We understand it's been a long day. I would ask that if you're not done by the time we start reading names, to pause, please. So, and we would ask that if you're planning on leaving, again, if you're not done by quarter after, we would ask you to pause where you are. Thank you.
Should have stayed. Were the signs I ignored? Can I help you not to hurt anymore? We saw brilliance when the world was asleep. There are things that we can have but can't keep. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? more cheer than you need. Oh, and you're angry, and you should be. It's not fair. Just 'cause you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. If they say, who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? Well, I do. Who cares if one more light goes out in the sky of a million stars? It flickers, flickers. Who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, or quicker, quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out?
Okay, this one's for Gabby.
It's fine. Could I get the name readers to come up to the podium, please? Just those that are reading names.
Clouds of white and the brightness of day.
Frida.
What a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky.
Does anybody see Frida, Lindsay, and Chandler? Hello.
Passing by, I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really sing.
Thank you.
I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like a lemon drop, high above the chimney. One more while you do that. Lower the lights. I thought I could figure out how to do it on my own.
Yeah, well, you know what? I bet you Taylor, she figured out where to go to let people in that were locked out. So she might know.
We're getting ready to start reading names now. Okay.
Why did she have to go? So young, I just don't know why. Things happen half the time, without reason, without rhyme. Lovely, sweet young woman, daughter, wife, and mother, makes no sense to me. I just have to believe she flew up to heaven on the wings of angels, by the clouds and stars, and past where no one sees. And she walks with Jesus and her loved ones waiting, and I know she's smiling, saying, don't worry about me. Loved ones she left behind, just trying to survive and understand the why. Feeling so lost inside, anger shot straight at God, then asking for his love, empty with disbelief, just hoping that maybe she flew up to heaven on the wings of angels, by the clouds and stars, and past where no one sees. And she walks with Jesus and her loved ones waiting, and I know she's smiling, saying, don't worry about me. It's hard to say goodbye. Her picture in my mind will always be of times I'll cherish, and I won't cry 'cause she flew up to heaven on the wings of angels, by the clouds and stars, and past where no one sees. And she walks with Jesus and her loved ones waiting, and I know she's smiling, saying, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me.
Woke up cause the light poured in. Day 2 let the flood begin. Day 1 left me in my bed. I can barely remember it.
If I could figure out how, I would, trust me. Lower the lights. But apparently there's no real way to do it.
Still waiting for the first to break. Why
would you give and then take him away? Suddenly in, could you not let it fade? What I would give for a couple of days, a couple of days. Is it just across the Jordan, or a city in the stars? Are you singing with the angels? Are you happy where you are? Well, until this show is over and you run into my arms, God has you in heaven, but I have you in my heart.
Okay, if everyone would please work your way back into seats. We tried to get the lights lowered, but we were not able or successful to do so. If I could figure out where the button was, I would ask forgiveness later, but I can't figure it out. So if you want to try it, that's great. I'm good with it. I'll take full responsibility, I promise. There, Leslie will do it. That's now we already tried. That didn't work. Anyway, so we're going to start with the reading of names, but first, Pastor Eklund, if you would come up, please, and give us a brief message, and then we have a special song, and then we will go right into the reading.
So I was reading in Hebrews where the writer of Hebrews says, faith is the substance of things hoped for. And I was thinking about all the stories in here, all the hope that's represented in here. And I was thinking that hope is substantive. It has a substance, and it's you. Like, you all are the hope. And I know it's hard, and we see it Friday nights at Recovery Live in Selma. We see the tragedy, we see the pain, we see the relapse, but then we hear the stories. We hear your stories. Joko Angels, these women come to our ministry and they share their loss. And I look at these women and they have hope. Yes. How can I not have hope? They're the substance of things hoped for because they have faith. You all are the substance of things hoped for. So I know these numbers that have been shared, they're discouraging. But hold on, just hold on. And if we can do anything for you, if I can do anything for you to hold on to that hope, I'll do it. We'll do whatever we got to do because we do believe and we have faith that these numbers are going to change. And it's going to be because of you, and it's because of your story. Keep sharing your stories. Tell anybody who will listen. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. The substance of hope are these programs, the processes, all of them. Don't bash another program. Let's do this together, amen? The people are the substance of hope. You all are the substance of hope. And then let's just trust in God. I know it's tough. But we do not hope. We do not hope without the belief that this thing is going to turn. I promise you, we're going to watch it turn. It's going to change. It's because you shared your story. God tells us we do not mourn as those who have no hope. So thank you for what you're doing. The power of God is in you. You are Jesus with skin on to me. I've watched you hang on. I've watched you do amazing things. And I'm just proud to be a part of this and just so grateful, Randy. Thank you for letting me be a part of this thing. And I hope that the church can be a help to you all. And I pray that you would receive comfort tonight as we read these names, that each name there would be an element of hope to it. And I just wonder, is it okay if I just pray one more time? Yeah, Father, I don't know what to say sometimes when I get up in front of people who have suffered. But then I look at them and I just see you all in them. Each one of these names represents something priceless and precious. And we just have hope that these losses are not in vain. That we will see a turn, we will see a change, and we will give you the glory. Give us hope, give us comfort, give us faith to do this again, to keep telling the stories. We're grateful. We're grateful. Thank you, Lord, in your name. Amen.
Adrian Carrier.
Didn't know today would be our last, or that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb I can't feel anymore. I'm praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small, and you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, singing hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Alamance Adrian Carrier, Harry Cohen, Taylor Collins, Timothy Green, Jessica Jordan, Lauren McBain Hubbard, Ken King, Beaufort County, Philip Thomas Beddard, Alan Michael Boyd, Zachary Grazier, Bladen, Lauren Beard, Brunswick, Ashley Adlar, Patrick Atkinson, Brandon Bass, Josh Berkowitz, Andrew Buellspacher, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Heather Britt, Joshua Franca, Trey Fulford, Cody Harnish, Damon Harris, Pamela Hewitt, Matthew Huggins, Adam Locklear, Graham Noelise, Dave Peer, Timmy Smith, Derby Sykes, Blaine Taylor, Christopher White, Zoera Whittington, Kirby Williams, Buncombe County, Blake Bailey, Megan Daves, Kenneth Grace Jr., Sean Kay, Seth Morgan, Tim Parham, Jesse Rickman, Hope Saunders, Seth Snook Swan, Cabarrus County, Clint Pethel, Jerry Roberts, Joshua Threadgill, Caldwell, Joshua Buss, Daniel Coffey, Brian Oliver, Carteret County, Tyler Fair, Tyler Drawn, Brandon Tishner, Catawba, Chandler Benfield, Joshua Bumgarner, Amber Carter, Bryson Freeman, Misty Potter, Spencer Wilhelm, Kent Dalston, Heather Adele, Michael Carter, Boone Cummins, Megan Oldham, Laura Summers, Wesley Waldrop, Cherokee County, Bethany Howell, Clay County, Linda Becker, Cleveland County, John Ledbetter, Craven County, William Grimmel, Lathan Lilly, Lacey Thorne.
Cumberland County, Mike Burton Jr., Ashley Elizabeth Smith Rees, Michelle Fletcher, Alexander Humphrey, John Coing, Ashley Coles, Adam Neal, Angela Privet, Allison Thomas, Lauren Whitley, Sasha Burns, Stephen Thornton, Davison County, Jeffrey Ard, Matthew Callis, Lisa Estep, Shane Hensley, Corey Hunt, Cody Jordan, Paul Mills, Merritt Pike, Joshua Proctor, Harvey Stevenson, Dustin Stiles, Tristan Thompson, Frankie Vitigliano, Tyler Wade, Bradley White, Durham County, Oliver Aguilera, Jake Buchanan, Joey Dons, Brad Dugan, Stephanie Matheson Swearing, Nick Musgrove, Nicole Plevy, Sam Sporn, Andrew Stansel, Brandon Steele. Edgecombe County, Alan Clark, Sean Coley, Ryan Joyner, Evan Rufus Brewer, and William Taylor. Forsyth County, Lauren Church, Adam Creep, Trevor Martin, Josh Nixon, Jason Perry, Joey Phillips, Kirby Randolph, William Scott, Ryan Sprinkle, Toria Stevens, Mark Workman II, Christian Wisen, Franklin County, Taylor Allen, David Heller, Andrea Lyman, Austin Quinn, Michael Simpson, Gaston County, Zachary Arnold, Austin Chowdhury, Joseph Morgan, Courtney Rettler, Joshua Ross, Granville County, Crystal Cartman, Joshua Holland, Heaven Lee Nelson, Michael Phillips, Amanda Rice, Vincent E. Rodenwald, Yasmin Vitalis, and Jeremy Wilson.
Guilford County, Vanessa Abbott, Jordan Archibald, Jared Archibald, Brittany Boone, Andrew Brannon, Stephen Brown, Zach Bumgarner, Connie Clay, Michael Blaze Craddock, Timothy Curry, Caitlin Drake, Joseph Dubell, Stephen Fife, William Finch, Josh Figueroa, Christy Fuqua, Graham Gallagher, Jeremy Graham, Austin Guthrie, Skylar Hirsch, Eric Hollingsworth, Ava Howland, Amanda Jackson Lepard, Brian Johnston, Bryant Joyner, Griffin Kelton, Thomas Lamb, Jason Lee, Amanda Lepard, John Maurer, Walter Molden, Brian Murphy, Kristen Pogue, Grant Reese, Seth Rudd, Scott Saxon, Thomas Spradley, Josh Springs, Jeffrey Therese, Sean Tierney, Aiden Tosches, Chad Trent, Melanie Van Duzen, Joshua Walker, Ashley Wabi, Andy Weicker, Tyler Williams, Tyler Woody, CJ Unterstein, Halifax County, Ginger Tripp, Harnett County, Josh Barefoot, David Cox, Callie Harper, Joshua Felton Huddleston, Joshua Mathewson, Mark Parrish II, Brianna Wilson, Haywood County, Danielle Ash, Lucas Crawford, Samuel Johnston, Clay Suggs, Henderson County, Tom Ward, Hope County, Shelby Lynn Stanley, Hyde County, Gabriel Bailey, Iredell County, J.D. Bunch, Joel McInnes, Catherine Grace Moses, Pat Smith, Joshua Wilson, Dawson Petit.
Johnston County, Caleb Zimmerman, Taylor Hirsch, Christopher Manis, Patrick McCormick, Ryan Moore, Thomas Moorfield, Jeremy O'Neill, Robert Pradish, Wade Rayner, my daughter Dakota Strickland, Samuel Zaleski. Jones County, Matthew Fothergill, Corey Clark, Gavin Cox, Jose Izquierdo, Samuel Kane, Ethan Lucas, Alicia Markham, Justin Sharp, Jacob Sink, Daniel Whitaker, Timothy Willett, Lenore, Caitlin Rouse, Lincoln, Joshua Ayers, Garrett Fleming, Ryan Tack, Macon, Michael O'Donnell Jr., Martin, Ashley Taylor, McDowell, Michael Bivens, Mecklenburg, Sarah Brown, Jordan Cude, Hunter Dalton, Jason Freeman, Danny King, Logan McAdams, Michael Ragon, Stacy Ramsey, Amber Scott, Carrie West, Travis Witt, James Russell, Daria Kine, Moore, Heather Kelly, Colby McMillan, Philip Polito, Nash, Lindsay Alford, Travis Evans, Tate Faulkner, Billy Gardner, Jordan Raquel Gilbert, John Godwin, Cody Joyner, Cody Robbins, Barbara Simek, Robert Ponte, New Hanover, Aaron Borton, Brandon Courtright, Joshua Daughtry, Amanda Downey, Tiffany Duncan, Joshua Glasser, Amanda Henderson, Stephen Horn, Josh McBride, Joey Muth, Joshua Parnell, Stephen Schneck, Dylan Shannon, Amber Waters.
Onslow County, Jonathan Barefoot, Randy Clark, Shane Cray, Matthew Eister, John Gillespie, Morgan McKinney, Jason West Sapp, Matthew Seglinski, Anthony Valerio. Orange, Christina Brown Johnson, Kevin Bryant, Sterling Bryant, Kevin Cummings, Powell Hammock, Cameron McNash, Josh Nicholson, Gavin Ramali, Violet Charles, Jessica Clonch, Kelly Hale, Ashley Hines, my daughter, Maddie Marini, Prez Simmons, Robeson County, Stephanie Lamb, James Smith, Rockingham, Austin Carter, Taylor Johnson, Bear Johnson, Danielle Ruggiero, Caleb Shelton, Rowan, Hunter Brown, Curtis Dawkins, Holly Holshauser, Taylor Miller, Rutherford, Michael Browning, Sampson County, Nelson Heath, Sean Horan, Brett Lewis, Stanley, Tyler Wads, Jesse Bunkowski, Stokes County, Jonathan Seth Brooks, Joshua Venable, Surrey, Matthew Absher, Austin Heath, Brandon Moxley, Colleen Payne, Transylvania County, Cara Jean Leon DeCoste, Union, Carissa McMaduse, Joey Symes, Justin Symes, Justin Tarleton, Jonathan Washburn, Vance, Jeremy Height, Edith Height, Crystal Height, Linda House, Jeffrey Scott Hudson, Edward Medlin Sr., Jr., Patrick Penley, and Preston Powell.
Wake County, Jordan Adams, Austin Becker, Alan Belk, Faith Bevan, Griffin Blim, Michael Brooks, Christopher Brown, Jonathan J.D. Burkhart, Alyssa Camejo, Jared Citron, Elizabeth Clare, Andrew Cohn, Kirby Core, Jeremy Cox, Abigail Cox, Linda Coyner, Sean Curtis, Brian Dale, Crystal DePonte, PJ Donahue, Adam Eatman, Michael Ferguson, Joseph Foote, Harmon Gherkin, Cole Cuvetas, Kevin Harlan, Jeremy Harrison, Will Hayes, Jacqueline Helmke, Joseph Hockett II, Leighton Holliday, my son Michael Hoyle, Josh Jacobs, Dylan Jeffries, Jesse Johnson, Andy Keycheck, Piper Lang, Owen Livernoy, James Lovelace, Stephanie Marburger, J. Douglas Martin, Alex Martin, Sharon Maynard, Timothy McDonald, Ryan McKinney, Caleb Mallman, Sally Moore, Michael Morong, Trevor Nelson, Sheldon Oxley, Jason Peatshoe, Lee Pridgeon, Marvin Ratliff, Dan Roter, Orion Saw, Jordan Sablon, Melissa Sandstrom, Alec Scurfield, Alex Slaney, Neil St. Amour, William Stevenson, Parker Stevenson, Dylan Stroyan, Jason Stutz, Joseph Sutton, Lisa Tarr, Bryce Jaden, Matthew Trapnell, Trent Triplett, Brittany Vanden Heuvel, Gerald Watson, Patrick Wesley Anderson, Brent Woodliff, Christopher Worley, Watauga County, Brett Airy, Travis Carrico, Wayne County, Nathaniel Rashears, Alan Michael Chavis, David Steen, John Steen, Austin Wingler, Wilson County, Jonathan Cannon, Yadkin County, Rochelle Lambeth.
So we would invite everyone now to join us outside among the luminaries for the closing of our program.
You good? Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, what can I think of? Go ahead. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, I get it.
Wonder if you grab a hand, somebody next to you. Thank you for these brave men, women, and children. God, I pray you grant us comfort, you grant us grace, and you grant us mercy. And God, grant us a serenity to accept the things we cannot change. Give us the courage to change the things that we can, and give us the wisdom to know the difference. I thank you, Lord, for the hope that we have in you and the hope that we have in each other. Lord, give us your peace as we leave this place. Renewed sense of as we seek to end this in our time. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. But
You can figure it out and just email me, and that'll be fine. There's not a super rush to it. Obviously, it's something that if I need to download, that I need to go ahead and grab.